Once a symbol of freedom and peace, today over 90% of the world's pigeons quietly play a vital role in a multi-billion-dollar meat industry. It may sound strange, but have you ever wondered how millions of pigeons are farmed and processed every year? The secret journey of these messengers of peace in the modern era begins at specialized farms, where each bird is carefully selected, nourished, and raised under optimal conditions until the day they are harvested and transported to the factory. There, with the precision of advanced machinery and the skilled hands of workers, these modest birds are transformed into high-quality food enjoyed around the world. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we follow the journey from farm to factory and uncover the untold story behind the meat industry of a bird we thought we already knew so well. Everything will be revealed in this video. Over the past few decades, the pigeon meat industry has not only survived but experienced explosive growth. China, a powerhouse of modern livestock farming, leads by a wide margin, raising over 700 million pigeons annually and accounting for nearly 80% of global production. But what's the real reason pigeon meat is in such high demand? Compared to chicken, pigeon meat not only contains more protein but also has lower cholesterol and is rich in vitamin B12, iron, and zinc, making it a superfood for boosting energy, enhancing immunity, and supporting blood regeneration. Even in countries like France, the United States, Egypt, and India, pigeon farming is practiced on a small scale, primarily serving high-end markets. Domesticated for over 5,000 years, pigeons became spies with wings during World War II, carrying vital messages through bomb blasts at incredible speed. Yet today, the irony is that they are often called rats with wings in many cities, due to their noise and droppings, which can cause up to $1 billion in damages each year from infrastructure corrosion and pollution. And perhaps because the cities have had enough of them, pigeons are now raised on farms, not for messages, but for meat. Despite some controversies on the sidelines, we will now focus on learning how millions of pigeons are raised in the largest licensed farms in China. First, we'll begin by selecting healthy breeding pairs of pigeons, the foundation of every successful farm. Pigeons are famously monogamous, staying with one partner for life. So when pairing them up, you need to keep a 1 male, 1 female ratio and ensure they are between 6 and 8 months old for peak productivity. If the balance strays from 1-1, harmony in the nest starts to crack. Next, the male pigeons are strong and robust, with broad chests, often cooing and strutting confidently with their tails proudly fanned out. Meanwhile, the females are smaller, calmer, and more reserved. Before mating, the males typically preen and feed the females as a gentle yet instinctive courtship ritual. The timing of mating is very important. Pigeons only engage in it early in the morning or late in the afternoon, times when the environment is quiet and undisturbed. Although each mating lasts only a few seconds, it happens multiple times to ensure successful fertilization. And from here, they officially enter the period of becoming father and mother. Unlike other livestock, mother pigeons have a gestation period of about 8 to 12 days before they start laying eggs. The eggs are small, oval-shaped, ivory-colored, and have relatively thin shells. Compared to chicken eggs, pigeon eggs are smaller but more uniform and consistent in shape. Typically, each clutch contains only 2 eggs laid a day apart, with about 5 to 6 clutches during the breeding season. This is a unique biological trait of pigeons. Although they lay fewer eggs, their chick survival rate under natural incubation is impressively high, often reaching around 85 to 90%. But to ensure consistent quality and reduce stress on parent pigeons preparing for the next clutch, the eggs are not naturally incubated as in traditional farms, but are incubated using machines capable of handling large quantities of eggs at once. To carry out this stage, the eggs must be collected beforehand. Immediately after the mother pigeon lays the second egg, the farmer quickly and gently collects the eggs. The mother pigeon is very sensitive during this period, so to prevent her from noticing and to maintain a stable breeding cycle, fake eggs are prepared in advance and promptly placed in the nest as replacements. After being collected, pigeon eggs are gently wiped clean with a soft, dry cloth to remove dust without damaging their fragile shells. Next, each egg is regularly candled using a specialized light to monitor embryo development, ensuring that only eggs with viable embryos are selected. At this stage, it is very difficult to determine their sex, which is comparatively easier with chicken or quail eggs. The qualified eggs are then neatly placed into specialized trays and placed in incubators maintained at a stable temperature of around 37.5 degrees Celsius, creating ideal conditions for the embryos to develop evenly and healthily. If this egg handling and incubation process is not done correctly, it can lead to significant losses in the entire upcoming pigeon breeding season. And then, after about 17 to 18 days of incubation, the chicks usually make soft chirps or peeping sounds to announce their arrival and attract the attention of their mother or caregivers, just as the eggs begin to crack open, welcoming the tiny new lives into the world. When most of the eggs have hatched, workers carefully remove the chicks from the incubators and place them in warming chambers. This keeps their bodies warm, helps stabilize their breathing, and allows them to gradually adapt to the outside environment. About 12 to 24 hours after hatching, the chicks begin receiving a specialized, nutrient-rich diet. During their early days, each chick is fed 4 to 5 times a day, with each feeding consisting of approximately 2 to 3 milliliters. Just enough to stimulate the digestive system and support steady growth. Thanks to this, farms can standardize the entire process, shorten the rearing period, and optimize productivity, with thousands of chicks growing uniformly each day. After this stage, the chicks are gently returned to the loft to be raised under the care of the father pigeon. You heard that right. It's the father doing the parenting. Interestingly, pigeons also feed their young with pigeon milk, a trait usually seen only in mammals. In reality, this milk is a thick, nutritious white secretion produced in the crop of parent pigeons. Although this job is no easy task, thanks to their special instincts, these devoted dads manage it remarkably well. One detail you might overlook is the equipment used to raise baby pigeons, often called a brooder or holding rack, designed with breathable mesh frames to create a warm, safe, and comfortable environment that supports healthy chick development. When the chicks become stronger, small leg bands made of plastic or lightweight metal are placed on their legs. These bands carry identification numbers, symbols, or colors, helping farmers easily manage the flock, track information, distinguish age groups, and select breeding stock later on. Afterwards, the chicks are separated from their parents, and the pigeons are moved to a centralized rearing area where a specialized diet is applied to optimize growth rate and meat quality. As a result, the diet during this stage becomes significantly more nutrient-dense. The young pigeons are fed a specially formulated blend designed to support rapid development. This blend includes high-protein industrial pellets, which provide essential amino acids for muscle formation, combined with finely ground corn for energy, and roasted, finely crushed soybeans to add both additional protein and healthy fats. The pigeons are fed 2 to 3 times a day, with a total daily intake not exceeding 30 to 35 grams. At modern farms, feeding is carried out by automated systems. Drinking water is also adequately supplied through automatic nipple drinkers or cups installed along the cages, ensuring pigeons always have continuous access to clean water. Alongside a strictly controlled nutrition regimen, modern facilities are also invested in to create an optimal living environment for this hardy and active bird. Automated systems with manure collection troughs run along the bottom of the cages to gather and transport waste to a separate processing area on a regular schedule, typically every 1 to 2 days. Beyond maintaining clean facilities, disease prevention for the flock is taken to a proactive level through regular vaccination. This crucial measure helps prevent common infectious diseases such as Newcastle disease, avian influenza, and salmonellosis, protecting the overall health of the pigeon flock and ensuring sustainable, long-term farming success. The lifespan of a pigeon is typically around 10 to 15 years, but when raised for meat production, they only need to be kept for about 1.5 to 2 months. When pigeons are fully feathered, have a strong build, firm meat, and an average weight of 500 to 600 grams, this is the golden stage for producing high-quality commercial products, with meat that is neither too young and soft nor too old and tough. The catching process is usually carried out early in the morning to minimize the chances of the pigeons panicking, flying erratically, or getting injured during capture. Now, the harvesting process typically follows 2 main paths: collecting breeding pairs for sale, or harvesting pigeons for meat production. Those meeting the standards are placed into specialized plastic cages with ventilation slots and appropriately sized compartments to prevent collisions and minimize stress during transportation. Finally, the cages are loaded onto specialized trucks equipped with cooling and ventilation systems. This ensures the pigeons remain stable, clean, and healthy, ready for the next journey to the processing plant, where every gram of meat is handled carefully to guarantee quality for consumers. As soon as the trucks deliver the pigeons to the processing plant, a precise and synchronized closed processing system is activated. The cages containing the birds are taken to the raw material receiving area. Then each bird is hung on an automatic conveyor line, moving sequentially to the processing area following strict food hygiene standards. Each bird is processed swiftly in under 30 seconds to ensure the natural freshness is preserved. After chilling with a specialized cooling system, the birds pass through a hot water feather removal machine that uses high-speed rotary technology to completely remove feathers without damaging the skin. On average, the plant can process 1,000 to 1,200 birds per hour, maintaining a stable supply for supermarkets, restaurants, and large distribution systems. Finally, the birds reach a modern packaging area using vacuum technology to extend freshness and limit bacterial contamination. Notably, some batches are seasoned to enhance the distinctive sweetness of the meat. And then, from those carefully packed trays of meat, the pigeon embarks on an exciting new chapter, becoming the key ingredient in a countless array of visually stunning dishes. Whether roasted to a golden crisp with crunchy skin or deep fried to a fragrant crispy perfection, Each dish is sure to captivate diners and leave them wanting more. If you ever have the chance to visit China, you can enjoy this dish at local restaurants, where millions of messengers of peace are served each year, showcasing the country's rich culinary tradition and deep appreciation for this unique delicacy. To produce such luxurious fur, everything begins with carefully planned and calculated breeding. During mating season, farmers handpick mink breeding pairs with the most desirable coats: pure color, dense fur, fine texture, and no signs of genetic illness. Selected males are then moved into the females' cages to begin mating. After a pregnancy of around 50 days, baby minks are born with their eyes closed, barely any fur, and fragile bodies that require the constant warmth and care of their mother. In the first few weeks of life, mother minks instinctively stay close or cover their kits to keep them warm. At around 5 to 6 weeks old, the young begin to wean, their coats thicken, and they are separated into individual cages for better hygiene and to avoid fights. From this point on, their diet and environment are closely monitored to ensure their fur develops evenly in color, thickness, and commercial quality. Minks are usually raised in individual wire cages, each lined with straw or mesh to protect their paws and maintain hygiene. The ideal temperature is maintained between 5 to 15 degrees Celsius, cool enough to encourage thick, shiny, and uniform fur growth. Cleanliness is critical. Cages must be dry, well ventilated, and regularly cleaned to prevent skin diseases and fur loss caused by bacteria or stress. Even though they're cared for in near-perfect conditions, could it be that deep inside those tiny eyes, the tiny minks are still dreaming of a day when they can run wild and free in nature? To develop the thick, glossy, and uniform fur desired in the fashion industry, minks require a specialized, closely monitored diet. Crafting the ideal meal plan is no easy task. Ingredient selection plays a key role. Their food is a protein-rich blend of ground fish, meat, grains, fats, and essential vitamins. Once all the ingredients are ready, they're mixed in large industrial blenders. The ratios must be precise. Even a slight imbalance could affect the nutritional quality. The final product is a dense, meaty, fish-scented paste, packed with nutrients to keep those hungry little minks energized throughout the day. Every day, this feed is loaded into special distribution vehicles equipped with pressure nozzles that spray the mixture directly onto the top mesh of each cage. Unlike most animals fed from trays, minks have a natural habit of reaching upward to eat, mimicking their instinctual hunting behavior. This method not only saves time and labor, but also helps keep the bottom of the cages clean, reducing contamination and disease risk. After 7 to 8 months of growth and consuming several tons of ground fish, minks reach their prime, with their fur at its fullest, richest stage. As winter arrives, minks with the thickest, shiniest, and highest quality fur are gently captured by farmers using specialized tools and prepared for processing. They are placed into machines that use CO2 gas to induce unconsciousness, or in some cases, electrocution is applied, a method that ensures the process happens quickly. These methods are used with the intent to minimize pain and stress for the animals. Once the mink are completely immobilized, their bodies are transferred into a large rotating drum coated with lime powder or drying agents. This step helps clean the bodies, absorb moisture, and soften the skin in preparation for further treatment. At this stage, the mink are ready to enter the modern processing facility, a place where their pelts are transformed into the coveted soft gold of the high-end fashion world. When the transport trucks arrive at the factory, the mink with their soft, luxurious fur are unloaded into storage, ready to begin their transformation. The first step in the production line is skinning. The process begins with the worker making a small incision along the lower belly or between the mink's hind legs using a specialized cutting knife. This creates an opening point for skinning. Next, the mink is placed onto a skinning machine equipped with a clamping mechanism. The animal's hind legs are secured into position, while the lower section of the pelt is gently pulled downward by hand, with mechanical assistance providing steady force. Within just a few precise movements, the entire pelt, including the precious fur, is separated in one smooth motion, ensuring the fur's structure remains undamaged. Right after skinning, the pelts retain moisture, body oils, and natural odors. If left untreated, they spoil quickly, so the skins are transferred to a large rotating drum, similar to an industrial washing machine, filled with dry powders like fine sawdust, slaked lime, or wood flour. As the drum spins, the abrasive powder gently removes leftover fat, absorbs moisture, and softens the tissue inside the hide. This step also helps deodorize the pelt and temporarily preserves it until further processing. After completing the dry drum treatment stage, the pelts move on to the wet cleaning phase. This crucial step helps eliminate any remaining dirt and residues while stabilizing the pH level of the skin. The pelts are placed into a rotating drum washer filled with warm water mixed with salt, vinegar, baking soda, and a small amount of disinfectant solution. At this stage, the fur pelts are hung onto vertical cylindrical mounts, with each pelt secured using steel clips and rotated evenly around the cylinder. This arrangement optimizes space, enhances the circulation of hot air, and ensures the fur dries uniformly while maintaining its natural fluffiness. However, some facilities use a flat stretching method instead, spreading each pelt over a wooden or metal frame and securing it on all four sides using pins or hooks. If you think the mink fur processing ends here, think again. Right after the pelts are fully dried, they move on to the softening stage, where they are treated with natural oils. The purpose of this step is to restore the softness and flexibility of the leather base, which tends to become dry and stiff after the drying process. In cases where the natural fur color doesn't meet luxury fashion standards, pelts are selected for dyeing. They're immersed in special dye baths containing pigments, conditioners, and fixatives. Depending on the desired shade and fur type, the dyeing can take anywhere from several minutes to hours. During the spinning process, the dye penetrates every hair strand from root to tip without damaging the hide. Once complete, the pelts are rinsed clean to remove excess dye, then dried again to lock in color while maintaining shine and softness. The dyed and treated pelts then undergo a visual and tactile inspection by experienced specialists. They examine color consistency, sheen, texture, thickness, and fur alignment. Trained eyes can spot minute imperfections, like hair direction mismatches or subtle scratches that machines might miss. Each pelt is then tagged and graded according to quality, from standard to premium. After the manual inspection, the pelts move to an automated sorting line. Here, sensors, cameras, and measuring tools analyze each pelt's dimensions, color uniformity, and hair density. The system then groups similar pelts together for easier matching during production or auctioning. Once sorted, the pelts are laid flat, folded neatly, and packed into moisture-proof, insect-resistant packaging. They're now ready to be shipped to international buyers or high-end auction houses. In top-tier tailoring workshops, expert artisans cut and stitch each pelt with meticulous care. The fur must be aligned perfectly, matching direction, color gradient, and texture, to create seamless pieces. From these skilled hands come luxurious garments, mink coats, shawls, hats, handbags, and accessories, symbols of elegance and status that can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. If you're not spending thousands on a luxury fur coat, would you consider dropping $1,000 just to sip a cup of coffee made from poop? So how exactly does animal waste turn into a dark, silky brew worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Let's uncover the mystery. The journey begins in October each year when coffee trees enter their peak ripening season. Farmers carefully climb ladders to hand-pick ripe coffee cherries, even from the highest branches. Once the baskets are full, the cherries are sorted on site with extreme care. Only the brightest, ripest, and juiciest red cherries, those that meet the highest sweetness and aroma standards, are selected for civet coffee. Anything less is unworthy of becoming this gourmet product. In civet coffee farms, civets are kept in individual steel cages and fed a monotonous diet: red coffee cherries, day after day. No more wandering freely in the forest, no more choosing what they like. Now they eat only what's provided. Each day, caretakers prepare precise portions of cherries, placing them into trays inside the cages or feeding them directly by hand. The cherries must be ripe, clean, and unblemished. If a civet refuses to eat or vomits the cherries, the fermentation process fails, ruining the final product. Since civets are nocturnal by nature, most of their feeding happens at night. And here lies the first secret of this ultra-premium brew: the strange fermentation that takes place inside the civet's digestive system. The civet eats the cherries but only digests the sweet pulp outside. The beans inside remain intact as they pass through its system. During digestion, natural enzymes and gut flora seep through the bean's outer shell, subtly altering its internal protein structure. The result? Less bitterness, more sweetness, and a smooth, mellow aroma, a flavor profile no industrial process can truly replicate. After the civet has completed its mission, digesting the sweet pulp of the coffee cherry and excreting the intact, naturally fermented bean, farmers begin the most unusual harvest stage of the entire process. Each morning, workers walk along rows of cages, armed with small shovels or specialized gloves, carefully collecting the civet droppings that contain the precious coffee beans. It's not exactly the most glamorous job in the world, but it's the very first step in creating one of the most expensive coffees ever brewed. So here's the question: if you were paid $20 an hour, would you be willing to roll up your sleeves and join the elite ranks of the world's poop collectors? The fresh droppings are rushed to the first processing area, the beginning of the transformation from waste to black gold. There, workers in protective gear manually separate the beans from the feces, one by one. This step requires patience and precision, as each bean must remain whole and undamaged to preserve its quality for roasting later. The separated beans are then submerged in large tanks of water and washed thoroughly in several stages. The first rinse removes loose dirt. Then, the beans are soaked again and treated with a mild disinfectant solution to kill bacteria and eliminate odors. They're stirred by hand or using aeration systems to lift off any remaining residue. This multi-stage cleaning can take 2 to 4 hours, depending on how clean the beans are at the start. Once finished, the beans are drained and moved to the drying phase. After rinsing, the beans are spread out evenly across wire mesh trays or concrete drying yards. For the next 3 to 5 days, they're dried naturally under the sun. During this time, workers turn the beans several times a day, usually 3 to 4, to ensure even drying and prevent mold or unwanted fermentation. It might sound simple, but this step is critical. Poorly dried beans can ruin the flavor and consistency during roasting. Once the beans reach a moisture level of about 12%, they're finally ready for the most crucial phase, roasting. Roasting is where the magic happens, and the value of these rare beans is truly unlocked. The beans are placed into small, high-precision roasting machines. Temperature and time are carefully controlled, usually between 180 degrees and 220 degrees Celsius for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the desired roast level. Modern machines allow roasters to monitor aroma development in real time, adjusting airflow, drum speed, and heat levels with incredible precision. As the beans expand and crackle, they release a subtle, sweet aroma, softer than regular coffee, like opening a box of long-forgotten memories. When brewed, civet coffee produces a dark brown, crystal-clear liquid. Its flavor is smooth, low in bitterness, with a lingering sweetness and a faint hint of fermented fruit, all thanks to the natural microbial fermentation process inside the civet's stomach. A single kilogram of finished civet coffee can fetch anywhere from $500 to over $1,000, an astonishing price for something that was once considered waste. However, not every cup smells of freedom. The rising demand for civet coffee raises serious concerns about the welfare of the animals. When civets are forced to consume coffee cherries continuously, they often suffer from stress, declining health, and reduced reproductive ability, yet are still made to eat. That's why it's essential for farms to adopt humane farming practices that ensure a more natural and ethical environment for these animals. What are your thoughts on this issue? Feel free to share them in the comments below. Amidst the vast, endless ocean, pearls emerge as priceless masterpieces bestowed by nature, shaped by the relentless forces of time and adorned with layers of shimmering nacre. These exquisite pearls have captivated jewelry enthusiasts for decades, adorning elegant necklaces that symbolize luxury and sophistication. But have you ever wondered how these precious pearls come into existence? The journey of a pearl begins with the delicate art of pearl cultivation, where layer upon layer of nacre is gradually deposited over the years, drawing from the very essence of the ocean's currents to crystallize into a radiant and flawless gem. It is a perfect harmony between human craftsmanship and nature's marvel, carrying within it an enchanting mystery. Join Agriculture Insight as we dive into the cool, glistening waters and follow the magical transformation of pearl oysters until they become one of nature's most dazzling treasures. Let's begin. Among more than 800 species of oysters, only a select few have the ability to produce high-quality pearls. Yet even among them, only 1 in 10,000 can yield a truly flawless gem. This rarity explains why natural pearls are so luxurious and sought after by the elite. Today, the most valuable pearl in history is La Peregrina, a more than 500-year-old treasure once belonging to the Spanish royal family and later owned by Hollywood icon Elizabeth Taylor. This legendary pearl fetched a record-breaking auction price of $11.8 million. If time is what sculpts the perfection of natural pearls, then for cultured pearls, their refinement comes from modern techniques and the skilled hands of artisans. Pearls are classified into 4 main types. Akoya pearls from Japan are known for their perfect round shape and soft hues of white, pink, and silver. Tahitian pearls from Polynesia exude a mysterious beauty with dark tones accented by shades of green, purple, or silver. South Sea pearls, often referred to as the Queen of Pearls, stand out for their large size and exquisite golden hue. Lastly, there are freshwater pearls, which are widely cultivated. Among these, South Sea pearls hold the highest value, 10 times that of Akoya and 4 times that of Tahitian pearls. And now, let's explore how these tiers of the ocean are created, from the skilled hands of pearl cultivators to the deep-sea farms where nature continues to refine their breathtaking beauty. Although humans can cultivate pearls, this process is far from easy. Before beginning their journey beneath the sea, the first step is to create the nucleus for implantation into the pearl oysters. Only the thickest and sturdiest oyster shells are selected, cleaned, and cut into small pieces before being shaped into flawless spheres using high-precision lathes. This process demands extreme accuracy, down to the micrometer, because only perfectly round nuclei can produce beautiful pearls. Once shaped, the nuclei undergo rigorous testing for size, roundness, hardness, and surface smoothness. Those that meet the strict standards are then thoroughly sterilized before being packaged and shipped to pearl farms across the world. But to create a perfect pearl, a flawless nucleus alone isn't enough. It also requires soft tissue from a healthy donor oyster and a bit of biological magic. A tiny piece of mantle tissue, just a few millimeters, is carefully cut from the donor oyster. This small but vital piece acts as a biological catalyst, stimulating the pearl oyster to secrete layers of nacre around the nucleus, forming the pearl. Without this soft tissue graft, the oyster might reject the nucleus as a foreign object and expel it rather than coating it. And so with this essential combination, the process moves into its most crucial phase, implantation. Before implantation, the tissue fragment is cultured in a nutrient solution containing minerals, amino acids, and growth factors to ensure the cells remain healthy and viable before being inserted into the host oyster. With a steady hand, the pearl technician gently pries open the oyster's hard shell using specialized tools, ensuring the delicate inner tissue remains unharmed. Next, a small piece of soft tissue from the donor oyster, along with the carefully prepared nucleus, is inserted into a biological pocket within the host oyster. Now is the time to unveil the mystery of how precious pearls are formed. Once grafted, the pearl oysters are returned to the ocean, where they continue to live in a carefully controlled environment. Sensing a foreign object inside, the oyster reacts instinctively. Since it cannot expel the irritant, it secretes nacre, a natural compound made of calcium carbonate and organic substances, to encase it, reducing irritation. Over months and years, layer upon layer of nacre accumulates, sometimes in the thousands or even millions, creating the pearl's smooth, lustrous surface. The longer the oysters remain underwater, the larger and more valuable the pearls will be. And you see, not every hardship that happens is negative. Pearls are proof of how nature transforms irritation into beauty. Just like a grain of sand in an oyster becomes a pearl, or coal under pressure turns into a diamond. After 1 to 3 years of patient waiting, when the pearl has reached its perfect maturity, it is finally time for humans to bring these treasures of the ocean to the surface. When the cool autumn breeze gently taps on the still waters, it marks the busiest time of the year for pearl farmers as they dive into the harvest season. Before diving into the process of harvesting saltwater pearls, let's first look at freshwater pearl farms in China, where the quick and straightforward harvesting process prioritizes speed and yield over careful selection and refinement, making China the producer of 80% of the world's freshwater pearls. Once harvested from the ponds, the oysters are gathered at centralized processing facilities. All the oysters are opened simultaneously, with no prior sorting. Workers use specialized knives to open the oysters and extract pearls quickly and manually. The process involves simply scraping the tissue inside to retrieve several pearls at once. On average, each worker can process between 100 and 300 oysters per hour, and in large-scale facilities, this number can rise to 500 to 600. Though freshwater pearls command high prices in the market, farm workers typically earn between 200 to 400 USD per month, a mere 1/10 to 1/100 of the value of premium sea pearls. After extraction, the pearls are placed in large baskets and rinsed in water to remove impurities. Given the vast quantity of freshwater pearls, they are often washed in bulk either by machine or using simple manual methods. Each freshwater oyster can produce 10 to 30 pearls, while sea oysters can only produce 1 pearl over many years. This results in the mass production of freshwater pearls, which is highly efficient, low cost, and abundant in contrast to the more painstaking sea pearl harvest. So when it comes to the pearl industry, what truly defines economic value? High-end quality or large-scale production? In stark contrast to the freshwater pearl harvesting process, harvesting sea pearls involves a meticulous and detailed procedure, demanding high skill and patience from the divers. Beneath the deep blue waters, divers quietly descend into the depths and gradually pull up cages filled with oysters. Each cage is heavy with hundreds of oysters, small creatures lying still within their rough shells, hiding the precious pearls inside. This work requires great finesse and skill, as even a small mistake could damage the pearls. But the journey of the pearl is not over yet. The oysters are brought back to the processing workshops, where each one is carefully cleaned. The outer shell is scraped to remove barnacles and other marine organisms, revealing the rough, textured surface, ready for the next critical inspection step. Next, the oysters are passed through X-ray machines to determine which ones contain pearls. Only oysters showing signs of having pearls inside are opened to avoid waste. Before being placed on the harvesting table, the oysters are stimulated to open their shells, making the extraction process smoother. They are placed in special baskets and exposed to a controlled temperature seawater solution, allowing the shells to gradually open. Once the oysters begin to open, a small, delicate rod is inserted to keep the oyster from closing before it is moved to the harvesting table. After the carefully selected oysters are ready, the real magic begins. Extracting the pearls is not just a technical process. It is also an art that requires precision and absolute accuracy. First, the oysters are secured on a specialized stand that holds them firmly but allows enough flexibility for handling. A tool is inserted between the two halves of the shell to create a small gap, just enough to access the interior without damaging the shell structure. Once the oyster is open, a thin, rounded scraper is used to separate the tissue and extract the pearl. The pearl offers no resistance as she is gently extracted from the pearl sac, naked and defenseless, inviting man's gaze to observe her, judge her, measure her, and finally classify her by her diameter, her color, her shape, and the delicate perfection or imperfection of her surface. Behind the dazzling beauty of each pearl lies a harsh reality. Most mother oysters are sacrificed in the process of producing a perfect pearl. A small number of healthy oysters can be reimplanted to produce new pearls, up to 2 or 3 times in their lifetime. However, the highest quality pearls are typically formed during the first graft, as the initial layers of nacre are always the smoothest and most uniform. Even when no longer able to produce pearls, mother oysters continue to give. Their shells are crafted into nuclei for new pearls, while their meat becomes a nutritious delicacy, a humble yet complete offering. After being harvested, pearls do not immediately become jewelry. They must first undergo a meticulous crafting process. Master artisans begin by assessing each pearl to determine the most suitable form of craftsmanship. Some naturally beautiful pearls require only a simple drill hole to be strung into necklaces, while others may be polished or combined with gold, silver, and diamonds to create luxurious pieces of jewelry. Pearls that do not meet the standard in shape or luster are often repurposed into pearl powder. Since freshwater pearls are produced in large quantities and have a lower market value, most pearl powder available today is derived from them. The production of pearl powder involves grinding the pearls into an ultra-fine powder while preserving their valuable minerals, such as calcium, proteins, and amino acids. Since ancient times, pearls have been revered as treasures of the sea, often referred to as tears of the gods or frozen moonlight that has fallen into the depths of the ocean. In Western culture, pearls have long been cherished as heirlooms, traditionally passed from mothers to daughters as symbols of purity, good fortune, and timeless elegance. Meanwhile, in Eastern traditions, pearls are regarded as emblems of prosperity and longevity, often representing harmony and strong family bonds. From a symbol of royal power to an object of prestige and sophistication, pearls are not only masterpieces of nature, but also enduring testaments to eternal beauty, resilience, and the timeless values that nature bestows upon humanity.